So farewell, David Cameron, that rare beast of a politician, one who kept a promise. He promised to change the Conservative Party, and he did, from the nasty party to a party that now has a majority government. He kept the coalition together for 5 years, despite predictions of a quick collapse. And he stabilised the economy after the previous government admitted it had run out of money. But he's paid a price for delivering, and this week has fallen on his sword and exited stage right. Or should that be centre? So while it will be left to history to judge him, I can deliver the verdict for you right here and now. The biggest and bravest promise he made, to let the people vote in an EU referendum, and no, June, we're not debating that again, means he's damned either way. If the naysayers are right and the country fails, he's the idiot who allowed us the vote. If the country soars post-Brexit, he's the idiot who campaigned to remain. But idiot or not, I think Cameron deserves to be remembered as a Prime Minister who at least kept his word.
Nick, I suppose my problem with David Cameron is I never really sort of understood what he stood for.
Right, OK. In as much as?
As in, you know, with most leaders, you kind of get their vision, you understand why they want to be Prime Minister, and you sort of understand the direction they want to take the country in. I just thought, and I think, you know, the referendums were sort of examples of this, I just thought he was a bit of a gambler. What did his sort of time in office represent? I mean, you
stability.
Can't...
Economic
but
stability.
Was that so much him or Osborne?
Well, extraordinary creation of jobs at a fantastic
Again,
rate.
would we give him that credit?
Improving education. Well, yeah, not bad.
I'm not sure on the education.
Well, if you look at the league tables, which are pretty ugly, I agree. They're a pretty blunt tool, but Britain is starting to come back up. Continuing success of the NHS, falling waiting lists for operations, growth in GDP.
They've destroyed the NHS.
Jobs are up, and eternal happiness and the end of poverty.
and what salary are you on?
I'm surprised Are you actually co-authoring his memoir?
I think you are.
Good,
Rachel.
But I am available. If you want to. But
he got it wrong. Can we Coulson?
He's only going to be remembered for one thing.
Yes,
losing
the referendum.
Losing the referendum. Now, on your account,
and can I add,
he's going to lose that either way. Right?
And flouncing out when he didn't win it.
And flouncing out when he didn't.
When he said, you said he was a man of his word. He said he'd stay on after Brexit. He resigned. He said he'd stay on as MP for Whitney. He resigned.
Just because you're right, it doesn't make you a better person.
Just
as well in your case.
Yes, absolutely. But don't you agree, Greg? If Britain wins...
I agree with your analysis. I think he's a loser either way. Yeah. In which case, he should never have had the referendum in the first place.
We can't go back.
Because he couldn't win. He couldn't. Yeah. No, just for him as an individual, he couldn't win. We can go back over why he did it and the rest of it. But actually, he couldn't win.
He thought he could win. He thought he was going to be the only guy who won an election outright and 2 referenda. Yeah. And he would go down in history as that.
And that's what it was for.
June is right that there isn't Cameronism. He's not going to be remembered for any economic doctrine or any, maybe foreign policy disasters. Agreeing, Libya which is going to haunt him. Yes. Maybe not to the same extent that Iraq has haunted Tony Blair. Yeah. But, I mean, you want my verdict?
Yeah, of course I would.
You want my verdict? I think he was a supremely talented Prime Minister. And what we saw this week was that when he wasn't able to be captain of the team, he wanted to take the ball home.
If he couldn't be captain, he wanted to take the ball home. Quickly one. Do you not agree that he and Osborne, fair point, probably steered us back from the brink? Steered the country back from the brink. You surely would allow...
brink?
Oh, come on, the world. Every countries are tipping over all over.
2008?
Yeah, the collapse. You don't think...
I mean, but I'm not sure austerity was necessary.
And there's no money left in the till or whatever it was?
Well, there still isn't any money.
Right.
But, but don't forget, Theresa May has purged his entire cabinet and all his friends and has departed from most of his policies. From schools to austerity.
See, I think for me one of the big standout things is I always remember David Cameron talking about this big society. Do you remember that whole campaign?
What a disaster that was.
Quite quickly
but this is my point. For me, when I think of the starting position, I know it wasn't quite the start, but the starting position in my head is this big society. We've got the society we've got big divides, and we want to hug hoodies, we want to bring everyone together.
We have a picture of the hugger hoodie.
Do we?
Yeah.
There you go.
Genius.
So for me,
that's not your brother, is it, Rachel?
It looks suspiciously like mine, I'll tell you. But my point is, my starting position is let's hug hoodies, let's have a big society. The ending position, one could argue that this is the most divided our nation has ever been, ever. We have got, like, so much hatred amongst the people. And that's something...
That was on his
hatred is a very strong word, Michelle.
I think it's very true.
Hatred?
Yeah, I would say...
Let me just... Have you seen this picture of Cameron, which I love? It's the one of him, look, he's fast asleep on the bed. This is at his sister's wedding. He's fast asleep on the bed with his red box next to him. Now, I love that. I love that that's what he... You know, he's a human being there.
Yeah, of course.
He's just saying, look, I've had enough of these red boxes. I want to have a kiss. Yes, and I think it's wonderful. I really like him. I think he was a good Liberal Tory. And I think he did a lot for the Conservative Party because of that. You know, you're a nasty party. I think he brought them back to a centre ground and he brought them back into being, in some ways, caring. But I think all of it doesn't matter because he'll only be remembered for one thing. You see, I don't agree with the idea that Rachel came up with, that he's flounced out. I think what he's discovered is once you've been the boss, you can't sit around being
backseat driver.
You can't do it. And actually, I think it's quite a brave decision to say, look, we should go. And I suspect it was taken by him and his wife. Let's go. Let's go and do something else with the next 20 years of our life.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite a brave
He shouldn't
decision.
have said it about, was it 6 weeks ago or whatever you said?
Yes,
that was where he went wrong, Greg.
He said the timing did look as if he just could not stand what his successor was doing.
I mean, if you remember, the others weren't, they're too young, but you remember Ted Heath, who didn't get flounce off. Ted Heath stayed there and just...
incredible self.
And just was constantly niggling away at Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
It's far better to go.
Yeah.